Hi there everyone, and welcome to my channel. The channel that I continually call Work in Progress and Always Evolving. And the channel where I hope to have conversations with people just like you and me about what we're going through at this time, about everyday challenges, about how we've maybe learned something from maybe experiencing something that wasn't so great, but we came out on the other side much better. You know what I'm talking about, that kind of stuff. Because I think that when we can share those kinds of stories with one another, we're really helping one another because we discover that we're much more alike than not alike, or that we're not the only one out there having this particular issue or problem. So, if you agree with this idea, and it kind of makes you maybe possibly excited to have that kind of conversation, then just look right below this video because there's my contact information. Click on it and let's have a conversation. So today, let's see. I've got a question for you about a question. So I'm going to have a question for you with a question. I guess that's the way to say it. So when you've got something going on, let's say you have a question about something or a concern about something, but you don't have the answer. Or maybe you kind of have, maybe you think you have an answer, but you don't really trust it. So you've got this thing going on and it's in the back of your mind, it's been bugging you. Where do you go to get some help? Do you go to a best friend? Do you go to a person that you've always admired and feel is wise and has always had good answers to your questions? Or you go to Google, and then Google gives you some other authorities that could, and probably will, at least according to Google, have your answers to your questions, right? Where do you tend to go? What's your typical MO? You know, a lot of us probably go to Google first because maybe we feel, oh, I don't want to bother my friend, or maybe we feel I don't want somebody to know what's going on, so I'll start here. But we're always going outside of ourselves. When I say always, maybe that's not 100% right, but most of us, if not many of us, are always looking for answers for things we think we don't know out there. And we go on a search. We start researching, we get this opinion and that opinion. It's not hard to get opinions today, really. It's easy. And then oftentimes, for many of us, we end up totally confused. Or we say, okay, that's the direction I'm taking, but not really sure that's the right direction. Well, here's an idea, and it's been working for me a lot lately. How about going within? The reality is it's within ourselves, our inner self, our inner world, that has the exact right answers we're looking for. But we've learned somehow not to trust those answers. We don't even think about going within because we don't think those answers are going to be right, or we won't have the answers, whatever it is that our, programming has been, conditioning, whatever. So we look outside ourselves. And oftentimes when we're looking outside and we think an answer, we end up going down some rabbit hole that says, wrong, didn't work, whatever. We are at a time during this process, this evolutionary process, that we are going through, this strange time that we're in, this time of so much uncertainty and doubt and confusion. What it is requiring of us is to go within. All of us, all the answers, everything lies within ourselves. That's where the truth lies. But we have been so trained and so much believe that everything is outside of ourselves, that we do not have the answers. Yet, what are the answers? They're our instinct, our intuition. That's what we're talking about. And we need to strengthen that now more than ever, because that's what we have to rely on. Our instinct and our intuition is what absolutely knows the absolute truth for us, right? You see, when we're going out to all the other authorities looking for answers, they can only give us what they know. They can't know what's right for us. You know, nobody out there can know what's right for you or me, but we think they can. And we put our faith into everything in the outer environment to give us the answers that we need. And that's where we kind of go off into, excuse me, la la land. Yeah. We go off into thinking that everything out there or everyone out there knows more than we do. And we start to live our life that way by giving our authority away. Gotta take a drink, hold on. And then we get in a habit. You know, before Google came around, we probably just were calling on others, maybe newspapers, people give advice. Hey, people give advice all over the place. And I'm not saying there isn't a practical place for something like Google or Alexa or the devices that we have now. But what has happened is we've taken that totally beyond where it should be, way beyond where it should be, and we've ignored our inner guidance, our inner knowledge, our inner truth. And many of us are just starting now to somehow recognize this, you know? It can happen in strange ways. It can be that, you know, somebody says something and it triggers something in us to say, wait a minute, maybe I should be asking within, or it just triggers us that we're kind of running out there like lost children, trying to find answers from people that really don't have the answers. And why are we doing that? Because we don't have the trust or the belief in ourselves, in our inner world. Well, many, many people now that are talking about this time that we're going through, this time that nobody's ever been through, the time everyone that is kind of aware is looking at a shift and a change that we've never experienced before. And most are saying the same thing in terms of where we have to deal with this, and it's within. The power lies within ourselves, but it's up to us to give it the attention, to give it the, the response, the respect of acknowledging that all our truths lie within. And I'm not saying this is easy to do because I've been practicing it for quite some time now. And with me, I've had certain places where I give my authority away, let's call it, or give my inner world away. This is a broad subject, so it's not just so easy like black and white. Oh, here's when you give your authority away and here's where you don't. It's a very broad spectrum. So what I'm talking about, for instance, when we're going out there for answers to questions, or even in relationships where we have what I call people pleasing. Well, a lot of people call it people pleasing, where rather than owning and being responsible for our own inner knowing, our own inner knowledge that's coming forth, we people please because we probably, for most of us, like myself, we grew up with this type of conditioning in a family. And the people-pleasing became so much a part of who we were and are, we didn't even realize that we're doing this. But we do on some level. We'll realize it because it doesn't feel right. I've said for me, it's been like I twist myself into a pretzel to not upset or confront or make an uncomfortable situation with another. Now, this for me is in friendship relationships or family relationships, right? That's when I'll people please. When it comes to business or anything related to business, how do I say this? I don't do that. I do not do that. There seems to be a fine line, a boundary between where I seem to get caught, because that's a belief system, so forth. I get caught in that. And I don't realize how caught I am until I'm pretty far down the road. And it's strictly my responsibility to notice it. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's just this is how it's working out. Although I kind of believe that we find each other. Like there's people out there that want people to please them. This is where they come from. They're looking for the people pleasers. And people that have that energy in them like me, they'll find and we connect like a magnet, right? So that's been my starting point, to really recognize where I give my authority away. And the other place is definitely places like, well, let me back up. I don't do this anymore, but it was just like everybody else, where I was giving my authority away to anything, to a medical doctor, to anything medical doctor, to doctors. And I discovered the hard way that I didn't want to do that anymore. And once I set those boundaries, I really was able to be an advocate for myself in that respect. So again, that wasn't a friend thing, but it was like, well, who am I? I mean, am I going to argue with a doctor or somebody of authority? And I don't succumb to that anymore. I think I did for a very short time when I was younger. I don't do that, but I'll succumb to a friend or somebody, an acquaintance, somebody that I've met that I feel I need to do that with, because that's that inner training that I had, When it comes to other such things, if it's fearful, if I've got a fearful concern maybe about something physically wrong with me or mentally wrong with me, or I'm not dressing right or I'm not looking right, those are triggers for me, then I'll go to that outer authority. So what I've been doing in the more recent times is really looking within to really feel, what am I feeling when I do this? And where does the truth lie for me? Why am I doing certain things, I think I mentioned this in another video, but I noticed that I will really put a lot of thought and effort into what I'm going to wear to an event or a party, because underneath it all, I want to get a compliment. And the reason I want the compliment is because in my growing up years, my young years, that's the only way I knew that I was okay, is if I got a compliment. Otherwise, I wasn't okay. And this was part of my mother's way that she worked with me, was the behavior that I needed to have. So not just behavior, but how did I look? So if we could go to a family event and nothing was wrong, my dress didn't get wrinkled, my sock didn't fall down, my barrette didn't fall out of my hair, nothing, happened that would upset my mother. And maybe I even got compliments, oh, cute dress, look how cute she looks, blah, blah, blah. Then it was a good time, a good day. That didn't happen very often, hardly ever. But that trained me to start a belief system inside of me that that when I go to an event, if I get a compliment, I'm gonna know I'm okay, right? I'm gonna know I did good. Okay, you did well, you got a compliment. So I started to see that. Now, has that made me, has that changed me completely? No, I still find myself doing some of that. Now, I happen to be a person that likes fashion and likes to get dressed up and so on and so forth. And, everybody probably likes compliments. So it's still there, right? But I'm aware of it. And just by becoming aware of it, I can begin to let go of the grasping of it, right? it has to be there, or it was a bad time, or oh my God, I looked terrible at the party, nobody said anything. None of that happens so much, no. But it's still very much in my awareness of what's going on with me. So back to this original question, which was, where do you look for answers to problems, to concerns, to issues within that are concerning ourselves, right? Maybe where we look is because we don't want to come out looking dumb or stupid. So maybe we start to look outside of ourselves for that. So there again is a clue. We're doing these things because of something that happened, or some things that happened during our growing up years that trained us, that got us into this idea of going outside of ourselves for authority, for the answers, for the right way to be, what's okay and what's not okay. And now this is becoming a big, big problem. I don't know who you listen to, and different people in different segments, but I am hearing a lot of people who I respect, teachers, or people that maybe aren't claiming to be teachers, but they are definitely a part of what's going on in this life world, saying that, now all of a sudden, feels like all of a sudden, many more of us are waking up to realize that, we've been manipulated, and that we've been trained to look outside of ourselves for the right answers. There's been no training to say we know what's best for ourselves. In fact, oftentimes if you're saying to somebody, a friend or a family member, I think this is best for me, they'll have an argument with that. No, I think you're blinded by something. I think you don't see something. So it's not something that's oftentimes supported, right? So what do we do with this? Well, given the situation we're in, whether you are a proponent of this or not, I don't know, but even if you could at least say things are pretty crazy out there right now, I think most of us could honestly feel that things aren't right, Things are kind of scary, certainly uncertain, depending where you're coming from. But if we can look at that, then maybe that helps us to look within to our own solid authority. We know from within exactly what to do and when to do it. I know this because it's happened to me so many times with serious situations, medical situations, decisions that need to be made. I know from within when something is to go a certain way, or what my decision is. However, many other times I can go outside of myself looking for those authorities on something that I think I'm not smart enough, or been told I don't know enough about, or get an argument from somebody that no, you're wrong, that's not right. What I would hope for, and maybe this is something we could do on this channel when we share our stories with one another, is that we could switch this thing and turn it around and start to honestly support one another for going within, support one another's decisions. Because it's crazy to think that we know better for somebody else. The ego gets in there and wants to convince us of that. But we don't, because we can only know from our own perspective, from our own background, from our own, craziness, if you will, sometimes. We can't know what's best for another. Only within can one know that. And, if somebody has trouble either going within or hearing response within, then that can be also a difficult, scary situation. But it's like anything else, it takes practice. It's like a muscle. And the first thing is just becoming aware. And then be willing, when I say go within, you're not physically going somewhere, but you're taking your attention to your inner world And then start asking for help. We've got tons of guides and angels, and they're always there and they're always helping us, but we just don't know it. We don't see it for the most part. Ask for help. That's the key. That's the other problem we have. We tend not to really feel comfortable asking for help. We may ask for somebody's advice, like if we're going to go outside ourselves and say, what do you think about this? Just asking for a friend, that kind of thing. We don't want people to really know that we're having a problem necessarily. It's complicated, but we all need to learn, practice, and be active in going within. So obviously meditation can help. To me, automatic writing helps. I feel that's going within. It's all within. It's not out there. I'm not looking out there. It just happens in the form of writing. It can happen in the form of, meditation. Interesting thing is, I've never been much of a person that wrote like journals and just not a writer, more verbal. So meditation for many, many years was my thing. And knowing that I would get answers within. I wasn't oblivious to it at all. I knew that I had that inner part of me. I knew I had guides and angels since the time I was, 5 years old. But at the same time, I didn't trust, oftentimes, my own inner knowledge, right? I could trust it when nothing was at risk. But as soon as I felt there was some kind of risk, like I was going to make a mistake that would cost me something in terms of either money or sacrificing something, or I don't know. But as soon as I felt there was a risk, then I'm running outside of myself to get answers. And again, I want to stress, for practical reasons, we go outside of ourselves, Maybe we're trying to build a home and we don't know anything about being an architect or what needs to be done or whatever. We're going to go then to an authority on that because we don't know, but we can make a decision from within. So let's say we're talking to some architect and then something inside of us starts to feel, I don't feel so great about this person, or something feels not right, or you start to see red flags, and then that's where the within comes in. That's where we acknowledge that and we say, I gotta go find somebody else. So we're always going within, even though we're, doing something that we do need to have an authority to talk to. So it's not like always something this way. It's not black and white. But we have to continually remind ourselves and respect what our knowledge is within. So we may not be the architect, but we can tell when something feels just not right. And, we probably will never know what it was that wasn't right, unless we go ahead and not pay attention to that instinct and move ahead with this particular architect and have nothing but trouble down the road or problems down the road. So I know you get the idea. So what do I want to say today is that I want to encourage and support us in really practicing, spending time within ourselves, within discovering our knowledge base or our instincts or our intuitive side and strengthening that, because we're going to need it. We need it right now. And we're really going to need it as time goes on. That I'm sure of. I really am. But you go inside and find out if that's true for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't take it from me. Don't take it from anybody. But it is definitely an interesting subject. I think you might agree with that. And one that we've known about for a long time, but we've just never, ever really, gotten, how do I want to say, committed to it. Now, I'm not saying everybody. No, there's a lot of people that strictly come from the inside, outside. That's it. That all their decision making, all of their everything is happening on an inner level. There's definitely people like that. But I think way less people like that than people that tend, like those of us that tend to go outer because we were kind of trained that our inner knowledge just wasn't going to be enough. So that is what I'd like to leave you with today, because I think that is an important piece right now. It just came to me a lot of times when I'm going to talk. I thought I was going to talk about something else, and I don't even remember what it was that I thought I was going to talk about. Then it's almost like the last minute, maybe the last hour, it came to me how important it was to talk about where do we look for our answers? Who do we give our authority to? And so when that comes, it comes through so strong that I know that's what I'm going to speak about. And, what I'm saying kind of just comes through me. It's not something that I've gone to an authority to find out about, so to speak. Anyway, that's my message today. So, if you liked this message, you agree with it, or maybe you disagree with it, I don't know. But I would love to get a like on the video. Also, comment. Comments would really be helpful, and I know everybody's busy and maybe this just doesn't initiate a comment from somebody. I don't know, but a comment, I would love to get some comments. And definitely subscribe. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel as well. We're still a new channel, so we're still growing and trying to figure this thing out. In fact, I've just started to do some shorts and see how those work. Those are kind of fun. And also, if you would even consider having a conversation with me to just discuss what it would be like to have a conversation with me, then again, look below the video at that link below, click on it, and let's just have a conversation about if we could have a conversation on Zoom, right? And the last thing I want to say is be kind to yourself. This is something I'm always talking about on my channel because I'm always working on it. And kindness, again, because of what we're going through right now. If we're not first kind to ourselves, we can't be kind to anybody else because it's too crazy out there. So being kind to ourselves, meaning give ourselves compassion, empathy. I go through these times now where I really get that. And I just come to tears because I realize, oh my gosh, me and all the rest of us have been through so much, and we don't give ourselves any credit. We kind of, again, look out there at what everybody else has done in our opinion, right? But look at, we've done way more than we even have a clue. And if we're on the planet today, we're here for one reason, and that reason is to participate in this evolutionary process. How we each do it, I don't know. We each kind of have to follow our own guides, so to speak. But we are here for that reason. We wouldn't be here otherwise, I'm quite sure, because it is not an easy time to be here. This is a tough time. So whatever you're going through, you're not alone. But give yourself some credit and give yourself some kindness. And that way we'll be able to offer this kindness, if we take it in ourselves, to others out there. So, in the meantime, take care. Thanks so much for showing up. I really appreciate you viewing my videos. I appreciate that so much. And by the way, I appreciate so many of you that have commented and that give me likes or subscribe to my channel. It's very much appreciated. So again, a sincere thank you. So until next time, take care. I'm going to click this thing off. If you've watched my videos, for some reason I have trouble clicking off, but let's see what happens today. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.